So a child has a trauma, a child has pain. They're not really able to process thoughts the way someone that didn't have pain processes thoughts. So we've got to be aware that when someone is having a horrible childhood, or we are aware of someone growing up in a horrible childhood, that sometimes the way they process, the way they think is completely different. And even those that come from some healthy families can have that problem too. So you got to be aware that it's extra noted with someone that comes up in a family that has been traumatized. So we don't take it for granted that they think the same way. We've got to actually get them help. We already know about therapy, but sometimes they are helping themselves, medicating themselves with their so-called um, happy things that they do. But we don't want that. We want them to actually really deal with the issue, go back to the family members or whatever situation it is where they're not able to resolve that conflict within their life or that trauma. And I know we talked about it not sometimes being possible to heal from it because it's such a deep wound and such a big scar that sometimes the thought process is it's too late. But we've got to make it a try. We've got to give it a try. We've got to give each other the support that we can, and hopefully that will at least give some relief to the person in terms of communicating better and improving the communication if they want to. So therapy, we already know that therapy has that window period. If you've had childhood trauma, we don't want to wait for too late. So y'all, if you have therapy, you know anyone that has therapy, that needs therapy, please encourage them to get therapy because at least it's a start in the right direction. You just want to get them started, and you never know what happens, what they will learn from that. Do they know that they are having a communication problem? They probably do know because they have that pain, they have that hurt, and they have feelings within them that's uncomfortable. They can't explain it, but they can't manage it. Remember we talked about that? They cannot control their wild, sometimes out of the blue, uh, saying things that they shouldn't be saying to people that is inappropriate. So you really will see people that even might have PTSD that just come out and say things that are so mean to people that you can't explain it any other way except that there's things going on inside, again, unmet needs and unhealed pain that has been going on in their life. So you really do want to encourage them to resolve the unmet needs and the unhealed pain by not only getting therapy but by going back to the source. We talked about that. And remember, we cannot fix it, women, right? We think we can fix a lot of this. We cannot fix it. I'm a fixer. I have to stop fixing things, but that's my job. I've got to fix things. I've got to help people. So it's very difficult for me. I've been doing it since I was 16. It's very difficult for me to not help. I'm always giving of myself. And that's the joy that I get from doing that. But communication, you have to find out whether the person wants to receive that information, whether the person actually wants to be helped, even medically. So that is something that I'll have an issue with, but it's something that you got to be at least gentle and give the person the benefit of the doubt that they have a decision and they have a right to say yes or no or refuse the help, which is their prerogative. There is a limit to effective communication. That means we are not going to keep on going on and on and on and on, hitting our head against a brick wall, trying to get this person to understand what we're saying. We can't. We can't keep on doing it because we're going to not only injure ourselves, but we're going to get nowhere. The person has to be ready for that information. The person has to be wanting to get that help from you or from anybody. So there is a time that you just zip up and forget it and say, you know what, I'm not giving any help here. I'm actually doing more harm by nagging, and just stop. The person has to be ripe. I like the word ripe because it's like, you've got to be ripe. You've got to be soft and in that sweet spot before we can actually get through to help, not fix, to help the person see that the communication is the issue. Bad communication leads to either no communication and a disconnection because no effort's been made, or bad communication can lead to better communication when you do put an effort and then you connect and you do realize that you're getting somewhere.